Hey there, I'm Steve, and welcome to Jamsinentertainment, and welcome to the conversation. Today on Throwback Thursday, we're looking at A Christmas Carol, the George C. Scott version. Just before we get started, there are many ways you can help grow this channel. One is by clicking on the link in the description below, getting your copy of A Christmas Carol. I'll not only put this one up there, but I'll give you choices too. You can get the Disney version or the Muppet version, both really good. You can also like and subscribe so you can never miss the conversation, but most importantly, please share this video. Gets the word out there and lets people know that there's a community where they can come and have a conversation about things they love. Brief history about the Christmas Carol from my personal perspective. I grew up, like most people, watching the Disney version or the Muppet version, so I knew Scrooge as Michael Caine or as Scrooge McDuck. And every year, my family and I would go to the Macy's, which was actually a Lord & Taylor's at some point in Center City, Philadelphia, because every year they put on two shows. One's a walkthrough animatronic of The Christmas Carol, which opens up with Charles Dickens narrating, but then it leads into the George C. Scott movie. It's a kind of a mix between the book and the movie. Also, what Macy's is known for is the fantastic light show that they put on every year. And fun fact about the organ there, it is the world's largest organ. Link in the description below if you want to watch the video that I watched. A lot of fond memories going into Macy's this time of year with my family, going to see the Christmas Carol Village and the light show. And until today, I've never seen the George C. Scott version of A Christmas Carol, and it's really good. I don't know how much I can say about it. I mean, for the time frame, this is released in 1984, so it was probably filmed in 1983. It's a TV movie, and this is when TV movies were actually done very, very well, when they actually had a budget behind them. And sure, you can see where the lines between, fantasy and real life hit. Like, for instance, there's this cone of light that the Ghost of Christmas Present brings to Ebenezer, and it's supposed to be hovering where her hand is, but you can clearly see the string there. They do an okay job of hiding it with the fog and the lighting, but you can still see it. But I mean, that's just a sign of the times. They had to work with what they had. They didn't have CGI where they could film it with, and you would see it before post, and they just filter it out in post. But aside from that, this is like movie grade production. The sets look amazing. The acting is the acting is really good, despite it being like stage acting. It's acted like a stage play instead of like a TV movie, which is okay. It's really good acting. It's just, I don't think it's acting that should have been for TV. It should have been, a little more. I can't really put it into words, but for what it is, it's really, really good. And I believe this is the first George C. Scott movie I've ever seen. I think he was Patton. Let me check real quick. Yes, he was Patton. Wouldn't mind seeing that movie. I like war movies, but we're not talking about war movies. We're talking about A Christmas Carol. He does a tremendous job as Ebenezer Scrooge. You really feel that this character is going through all these emotions and all these memories with the different ghosts. There are two faces I recognize in this movie. You have Alfred, which is Michael Gough or Golf. I'm not sure how to pronounce his last name, but he's Alfred from the first 4 Batman movies. And then you have the Sheriff of Rottingham, walk this way, from Robin Hood Men in Tights. It took me a second because he didn't have the goatee, but I was like, that guy looks very familiar. And I looked it up, and sure enough, I was right. It's the Sheriff of Rottingham from Robin Hood Men in Tights. If for some reason you don't know what the story of A Christmas Carol is, I'll give you a brief synopsis. Ebenezer Scrooge is this old, crotchety, greedy man that works Bob Cratchit to the bone. Bob Cratchit's his clerk, and he won't give a penny to anything but himself, and that's how he amassed his wealth. And when he goes home, he gets visited by his old business partner, Jacob Marley. He's wearing chains. No, and Ebenezer doesn't believe his eyes. He passes it off as like some undigested cheese or something like that. It's just like a stomach ache or something that's playing tricks on him. But Jacob Marley says, no, this is real. And I have the chains to prove it, the chains that I forged in life. They're the chains of greed, if that's all you are in life. And he's told him to be visited by 3 spirits, past, present, and future. And through these visitations, Ebenezer sees his evolution of love and hate for Christmas. Because as a boy, he always kept to himself, and he never went home. He always preferred study because he wanted to be a great businessman. But he soon grows up and works for a tailor, or a guy who sells cloth to tailors. And he's a bit jollier. He falls in love with a lovely young woman that believes she also works at the factory. I'm not sure. Her name is Belle. They fall in love, but greed overcomes Ebenezer again, and she breaks it off with him. And shortly, he gets visited by the ghost of Christmas Present, who at first I thought was the same actor who played John Hammond from Jurassic Park, but I was wrong. And it was clever what they did to make him seem taller. He's wearing stilts. It's pretty cool. And through Ghost of Christmas Present, he's shown Bob Cratchit, outside of work with his family. And this is where he learns about Tiny Tim, who is sick. And I've never read the book. I'm not sure if it's ever said what ails him. Something to do with his leg, or something with his leg and something else, because, it's a possibility that he could die. And this touches Ebenezer. He doesn't want Tiny Tim to die. Then they move on to Ghost of Christmas Yet to Come. One criticism I have here is when Ebenezer first asks the ghost some questions, the ghost does these big bows like it's nodding. The one thing I would have changed is that whenever he asked a question, it just panned over to the ghost, and the ghost just stand there saying nothing. The ghost doesn't say anything to begin with, but I think it just would have been more powerful. After Scrooge asks a question, it goes to the ghost, and he's just standing there waiting for Ebenezer. I think that would have been a more powerful scene. Although this movie is not without its great cinematography, especially when he's walking home from his shop the night of Christmas Eve before he meets all these ghosts. It's a great shot of just straight down the street, watching him walk down this dark alley. It's just foreboding of what will happen. And also the use of light and shadows in this, really, really well done. I really like the production behind this. I would go into more of the plot, but like I said, for whatever reason, you've never seen A Christmas Carol in any way, shape, or form, I suggest you watch A Christmas Carol. George C. Scott one's a really good one to watch if you want to see a more serious version, or you can watch a more lightheaded one like the Disney one or the Muppet one, but it's a story that needs to be learned through and through, because it's a lesson easily forgot, and the lesson learned is something that should be lived throughout the year, not just Christmas. So those are my thoughts on A Christmas Carol, the George C. Scott version. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, what you thought of this version, or what's your favorite version of the Christmas Carol out there. And let me know what you would like to see me play on Twitch, because this past Tuesday I played Iron Man with the VR headset. I'll put a link to that below, because I'm going to be downloading. I've never downloaded a thing off of Twitch before, but I'm going to make some highlights. I'm going to download it and post it up to YouTube and Facebook. But do you want to continue watching me play Cyberpunk 2077, or go back to Dark Forces, or come up with some kind of schedule where I play one a night? Like I add in a third day so I can have one night for Dark Forces, one night for Cyberpunk, and one night for Iron Man. Let me know in the comments below. If you like what you saw, like it. If you think other people will like it, share it. If you really liked it, hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching. Merry Christmas, and live your imagination.